If you have been a gun owner for more than 5 minutes, you know that defensive gun uses are a daily occurrence. This has been proven over and over again. But, of course, with that comes defensive gun uses in states that aren't exactly gun-friendly or self-defense friendly. And that is exactly how an elderly man found himself in jail after shooting a robber that broke into his home with 2 other people just a few days ago. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the details on this one, these sorts of stories are the perfect ones to remind everyone how important it is to be prepared for a self-defense situation and not just with training. Unfortunately, self-defense liability insurance has proven to not always be the most reliable in a few high-profile situations, so your best bet isn't to have an insurance company on speed dial, but to have an actual lawyer. That, my friends, is where the Attorneys on Retainer program from the Attorneys for Freedom comes in. Their goal is to make sure that you are covered for legal defense if a self-defense incident happens. They are actual lawyers whose job it is to provide you legal counsel rather than an insurance company with all kinds of exclusions and fine print. Attorneys on Retainer has you covered for misdemeanors, for felonies, for appeals, and even bail bonds. It doesn't even matter if you were in a gun-free zone or in a bar or wherever. Their only requirements are that the incident happened after purchasing coverage and that you reasonably acted in good faith. They are also legal in all 50 states, unlike some of the big insurance plans. So guys, switch over from your existing self-defense coverage, head on over to my link down in the description and use code LibertyDoll to get $50 off your sign up. Now, back to the story at hand. A 77-year-old grandfather named Gregory Rivera was arrested for murder in California on Monday, June 10th. He was not ID'd to the public during the police pressers, but the Daily Mail released his name and somehow got his mugshot. According to both Rivera and witnesses, 2 men and a woman broke into the home just before 6 p.m. on June 10th. At least one of them was armed with a crowbar, and Mercury News claims that one of them also had a replica gun. Police say that Rivera caught them climbing his fence and went to confront them. When police arrived, one suspected burglar, a man in his 40s, was lying on the ground while Rivera was pointing a gun at the woman, who told police that the old man had shot her friend. I wonder why. And she was also on the inside of the fence. And when the man who had been shot died at the scene, this turned into a murder investigation. Police said that the homeowner did not immediately provide a statement to police, and so they arrested him for murder. Acting Deputy Chief Frederick Chaves told the press, absent any sort of statement, if A shoots B without an explanation, we can only go with what we have. All we know is an individual lost his life. Which, if there's a dead guy on the ground and no one is saying anything except this lady who's like, oh, you shot him, I kind of get. But also, if you have an old man versus 3 people, one of them with a crowbar, another one with a fake gun, on property where they don't belong, we can assume that something nefarious was afoot. The 3rd suspect fled the scene and was arrested a few blocks away. He's been charged with first-degree burglary. No one else has. Well, though I guess all that's left is the lady, but she has not been charged. The case was turned over to the Alameda County DA to investigate and consider charges. California does, shockingly, have castle doctrine, but it all depends on where exactly the intruder was and if the intruder was attempting to flee when shot. And according to Chaves, at least one of them tried to escape before Rivera fired his shot, so we'll see where it lands. But the plot thickens. According to Mercury News, when police arrived, they found Rivera with a Colt Python .357 revolver, which they later said had been reported stolen in Eureka. Now, I'm not going to jump to conclusions here. This does not mean that Rivera stole it himself. I mean, he's 77 years old, but according to the police, the gun was registered to someone else. Police held Rivera in custody without bail until Thursday night. He was released without charges, but the investigation is still pending, so charges could still be filed. According to the DA, he was pretty much only released at that time as they're only allowed to hold someone without charges for a certain amount of time, and they had met that deadline. But I'm very surprised, honestly, that they didn't immediately try to get him for the stolen gun, as it is California. So that one's a little bit of a head scratcher. does make it seem like there is some information here that we are not being given. As for the other details, so far we have learned that the man who was shot was named Mattel Ford and that he had several previous arrests for theft. Some of those arrests were for stealing from Safeway, Target, and Kohl's. He and the other would-be thieves came to the property in a stolen car. Bonus. And police say that they made several attempts to get into the home before scaling the fence. The fact that the burglars never actually made it inside the home could also be used against the homeowner in the case. Legal observers have gone a couple different ways on this. Some say that the cops are doing their due diligence and aren't surprised that there aren't charges yet. I'm a little surprised again, as it's California. But others have pointed to the police's reasoning that they arrested Rivera for not making a statement as pretty concerning. People do have Fifth Amendment rights and at the very least should be able to contact an attorney and get counsel before making a statement. Not immediately talking to police should not be an arrestable offense. It's definitely not a crime. Police have also said that they need to take into account official autopsy results before pressing charges. The autopsy has been completed, but no official report has been released, and there has been no new updates in the case over the last week. Alright folks, that is it for this video. Please do all of the algorithm things, like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring that notification bell. I do post multiple times a week, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 videos. So if you ring that bell, then you will know that they are there. You'll know all about them. Also, please drop a comment because that always helps the algorithm. And as always, thanks for tuning in and happy shooting.